Hey everybody, it's Sam with Viral Media Network, and I'm back again. It's day 28 of the Knowledge Cards put on by the Library of Congress Civil Rights Movement Edition. Now, I believe there's other knowledge cards out there, and maybe this will be a recurring theme. I started this in February for Black History Month, and obviously it's the end of March, so you're like, what are you doing? Well, I'm trying to wrap up what I didn't finish in February. I did the first 4 days. And if you've seen the other videos, you know this spiel, so please bear with me. Because if you're new to this channel or new to this video, this is how this series is going so far. But anyways, got busy with work and I couldn't keep up with it in February, so here I am in March, finishing it up. And we're almost over because 28 days in February, of course, but as I've also stated in previous videos, since there are 31 days in March, why not give a bonus 3 cards for a 31 total? There are 48 in this deck. So maybe I'll do the extra 17 at another time. But doing one video every day is taxing, especially with my other priorities in life and the other content I'm trying to do on this channel. And on that note, to plug some other stuff, Thrift Store Finds Vinyl Dig is coming out, the new episode, episode 7. And just had some technical difficulties in the first opening part. The audio did not record, so I got to reshoot that part. And again, because I was doing other stuff this morning, couldn't get to that and get it out earlier today. So that will happen. And our newest edition of the Sam Jack podcast, I'm not a professional, but wait, I am. Check it out right here or here, wherever the iCard pops up. The last episode with Charlize Banks is already out, but the new episode with Leah T, musician at large, now currently located in Nashville, but is experiencing a bit of the van life, so we talked to her about that. That episode is coming out on Wednesday, the 30th of March. So here we go with day 28. Okay, thank you for letting me get that out of the way. Here is day 28 of the knowledge cards. Because if you like what I'm doing here, not all of my content is specifically about the civil rights movement or social justice or anything like that. I just find this interesting, and it's also an opportunity for me to learn more about something I might have learned earlier as a kid, but revisited it as an adult and really in the climax of what's going on today. But needless to say, that's part of the reason that we're doing this, but also to revisit some things we might have already learned and then go deeper into stuff we haven't learned. And if you're new, there's nice photos here on one side, and then on the other side is the written blurb. So I've separated them in the ones we've already drawn. Now it's over half now. And I take this part and I shuffle this. Oh, yep. And I shuffle this up 3 times, and then I draw from that. It's getting harder and harder to shuffle the smaller deck, but so be it, right? 1. So again, if you have any experience with any of these or your own personal knowledge of any of these events or people, please share it in the comments below. Let me know how I'm doing. All right, there's 3 times. Here we go. And today's card is Julian Bond. Julian Bond was at Morehouse College in Atlanta when 4 North Carolina agricultural and technical college students sat in at a Greensboro, North Carolina lunch counter. Within days, he joined other Atlanta students to form the Committee on Appeal for Human Rights, sitting in on March 15th when he was arrested. The Atlanta movement grew to be one of the largest in the country. At one time, we had almost 1,500 people on the picket line, he recalled. We were hell. Bond was a founding member and communications director for the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. His persistent, persuasive efforts to publicize the desperate situation of African Americans in states like Mississippi and the role of the SNCC in fighting the frontline battles contributed to documentation of the civil rights movement and a recognition of its importance. Bond continued to champion civil rights and served as NAACP chairman of the board from 1998 to 2009. And again, this is something where someone who was involved in the movement back in the 60s didn't just, okay, rest on my laurels, we did it. Like, still involved in the 90s and 2000s and 2000 teens, or mid 2000s or 2010s, if you whatever you want to call that. But I was also thinking that, this, again, as I mentioned with Danny Lyon, the photographer, and other people who witnessed other people and were tangentially related or maybe not related at all and just decided to like drop what they were doing and fully commit themselves. I don't know if we've seen that as much. It's harder to do, I feel like, in today's culture. I don't know. Leave yourself in the comment. Leave a comment below to tell me if you agree with that or not. That's my initial reaction. I mean, maybe that's just my personal. It's harder for me to get unrooted with what I've created and sort of my stamp. But I know that's like, I live in a high cost of living area where I have a mortgage to pay and I need a certain amount of income to make that status quo. So maybe I'm afraid to jeopardize that and give that up. And I know, that is a very, different situation for other people. So I recognize that. I'm not necessarily going to call that privilege because I know there are plenty of people with mortgages to pay all around the country. But I do know it's not necessarily the reality for everyone, especially where I live in California in the San Francisco Bay Area, where it's highly, over expensive. I would say, it's really overinflated is the word I'm looking for. Anyways, not trying to get into the disparity of home ownership, but my point being is that not only are we see these stories of people just going all in, and that's what it takes, is from many different parts of the country and demographics and age groups to all come together and work together. And also the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, this was the catalyst for so much, and just to have that organization and all the, like I said, all the different people coming in together to create that and nurture that committee and make that what it was and make it such a powerful organization. I don't think we've seen anything quite like that in our time. But, again, I'm not completely connected with today's civil rights, and I'm not as connected with today's civil rights and activism movements. So, again, put something in the comments to correct me or educate me on that. I'm an open book. I really want to learn this stuff. That's part of the reason why I'm doing this. But as I said, I really appreciate this. It's been quite a journey for me. I've known some of the cards I've picked, but every card I've picked, I've learned something new, and I think that's the whole point of this. So hopefully you're learning something, or you can help share knowledge of something you do know. I try to share the knowledge from my experience, not necessarily from, I already knew this. I don't want to come in with that attitude. So thank you again for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for day 29. We're almost about to wrap it up. We've got 3 more days of the knowledge cards put on by the Library of Congress. Thank you again so much for watching. I'm Sam from Viral Media Network, and as I said at the beginning of the video in a long-winded way, check out some of the other great videos on the channel. Subscribe, hit the like button or dislike. Tell me why you dislike it. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. I want to get that constructive criticism to make these videos better for you. And you can also hit that notification bell to get notified when new videos come up. Speaking of which, got a new podcast coming out this Wednesday, and the Thrift Store Finds episode 7 of this week is coming out shortly. So I'll see you soon. Thanks again for watching. Peace, be kind to each other, show compassion, and engage.